How we doing, YouTube? Stevie here. Oh, it is October 22nd, 2024. I thought I'd do just a quick video. I'll get back to my ag stuff that I was talking about yesterday, but something just came up on the news I thought was pretty noteworthy. And as I said in the title, I haven't titled this yet, but it'll be something like this, is that October 22nd, 2024, we'll look back on this and say that this was the week, the day, the week where the U.S. economy started to crash. And it all comes down to one very simple thing that 2 years ago, 4 years ago, all the experts said would never ever happen. Couldn't happen, wouldn't happen, never happen. Started to happen today. And what I'm talking about is the BRICS nation announcing their new digital currency called the unit. And it uses blockchain, and it's the best I can understand it so far is it's 60% backed in gold, real gold, not theory gold like the U.S. dollar is now. The U.S. dollar used to be backed in gold when it was really the reserve currency that you could trust. And then Nixon took us off the gold standard, and since then America's been able to print money like we own the printing press, because we do, and not suffer very high inflation. The other reason why we're able to buy t-shirts and socks from Taiwan for what seems like it should be less than it costs to make it is because we're the reserve currency. If we didn't have that status, everything that we bought would cost a lot more. And being the reserve currency, the gist of that is that other countries, to trade with each other, they don't trade each other's currency with each other. What they do is they use the U.S. dollar. So they convert, let's say, Canada wants to trade with Mexico or China. Well, they don't trade the Canadian dollar with the yuan or whatever China is. I forget what their currency is called. They convert it, both of their currencies get converted to dollars, then they trade the dollars, and then they convert the dollars back into their currency, which puts us in a really, really strong position. We got that because of World War II. After World War II, we spent a tremendous amount of money in the rebuild effort, and we were the only economy that could really do it, become the reserve currency. Before that, it was the British pound for about 100 years, and it's been the dollar for about 100 years, 1941, 2, 3, something like that. And although they call it Brentwood, I believe is what they call it, and that was when they went off the gold standard in '71. They changed it a little bit, but before that, it was the French currency. Franc, is that what the French, what the equivalent dollar would be? For about 100 years, that was the reserve currency. The reason this really got going with earnest was the Ukrainian war, which we may lead a lot of roads. A lot of our future misery may lead right back to that war. But because of that war, the Biden administration wanted to put sanctions against Russia. So to put pressure on Russia to do what they wanted. This is not the first time that something like this has happened. Republican administrations have done similar things as well. The embargo with Cuba, this is how it's done. So I don't want to throw Biden 1,000% under the bus, like this all happened because of him. singularly, although it did happen because of him. But like I said, other presidents, administrations have done similar. Now, I don't know if they did quite well. If you talk about Cuba, probably they would say it's just as bad. Anyway, long story long. So everything has to go through what's called SWIFT, the SWIFT banking system. That handles all the transactions between all these countries, the switching from their currency into the dollars and the back and forth. That's how that is all done through that SWIFT banking system. Well, the United States, of course, being the biggest player, when they want to put an embargo or something on somebody like Russia, not only do they make it so that the Russian oligarchs and Russia, the country itself, and all their businesses can't use that banking system. On top of that, they say any country that does business with Russia can't use that system either. So it shuts down, if a country like India wants to buy fuel from Russia, they can't do it through the SWIFT banking system. And that's how they put leverage on countries that they don't like. And which is exactly what they did with Russia. So when that happened, India still did business with Russia. They just traded like materials, I think. Russia sold them fuel and they sold them something back, just without going through that system. China did the same thing. North Korea is always trying to bypass because everybody's always mad at them. But so what happened then with Russia? They seen the opportunity that we're tired of the U.S. pushing us around. So they went to China, or China went to them, both communists, and they said, we're sick of this nonsense. The United States is a paper tiger. Their economy's about ready to falter anyway. They're wrapped up in this stupid war, and they're not fiscally responsible. They just keep printing dollars like crazy and putting all these rules on us, and we've had enough of it. We should form our own currency and trade our own dollar. It's called the petrodollar, is what that dollar they used to use for trading oil around. And all the experts said, oh no, they'll never go off the petrodollar. They'll never go off of the petrodollar. Everything's always, and even if they do go off through the petrodollar, 90% or 95% of all transactions across the world is done through the dollar. That's what they used to say. Not many years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago, they were saying the same thing. It's been the same tune for a long time. But it wasn't until this last go around, these last couple, 3 years, that it got really serious. So BRICS happened. BRICS is Brazil, who hates us, Brazil, Russia, India. I don't know why India hates us, but they don't seem to like us very much. China, and I think the S is Saudi Arabia, but don't hold me to that. But I'm pretty sure. At first they weren't involved in it because they were trying to be nice with America. But now they're getting involved in it, not an official member, but maybe this week. And I think it's over 32 other countries want to join the BRICS system as well. Granted, these are the smaller countries that kind of hate us anyway, but once this thing gets rolling, you will not be able to stop it. And the problem is, so they announced their digital currency today, the unit. There's more coming out. They're meeting in Russia this week. All these countries are. Saudi Arabia will probably join, officially join. I'm not sure what other countries will as well. And why this is so bad for us is once people stop having to have the dollar of the other countries, two things happen. One, all these other countries are starting to scavenge all the gold they can get because it's going to be backed. This currency is partially backed by gold. And the other reason is all the dollars that they used to have to hold in their country so they could trade with other countries, they won't have to hold. And they'll start dumping dollars back into the market, which will cause massive, massive inflation in the United States. And if you ever want to see what can happen, look what happened to Argentina and Brazil when their economy did what it did. But all right, God bless everybody. We'll talk again soon.